Yeah, hello everyone, and welcome to my presentation about 2 weeks on Madeira Island in October 2023. And yeah, my name is Patrick, and thanks for having me here. Um, yeah, first, I will introduce you to myself a bit, and after that, I will give you some facts about the island of Madeira if you haven't been there already. And yeah, my stereos will be specifically ordered by Funchal, the capital, then some inland impressions, a mountain hike, and a so-called levada hike. So, yeah, as I mentioned, my name is Patrick. I'm an information scientist from Germany, and I'm into stereoscopy since 2020. Also, yeah, a bit during the Corona time, but yeah, first discovered this whole very big community in 2021. Yeah, I really um, was astonished about that and liked it a lot to meet so many people. Didn't knew it that there are so many doing 3D photography and art as well. And yeah, and I have a band, the Bumblebees. If you yeah, give us a like on Instagram. I would be very grateful for that. You can also listen to some music there. And here on the right, you can see me with an traditional drink from Madeira already. It's called poncha. It's a yeah, typical cocktail made from sugar cane and honey and lemon juice and tastes very good, but also has a lot of alcohol uh, if you like that. And yeah. I also think it's worth mentioning that I'm not the only one who did stereo photography on Madeira. Um, yeah, Felix as well. He posted from April till July last year a lot of nice stereos, and also there's a gallery on the stereo side from Björn. And yeah, then let's step right onto the island, enjoy a short virtual holiday with me. And yeah, later on, I will show my stereos in parallel and cross view as well, left, right, left format. But first, some facts about the island. Where is it located? Or where are they located? It's an island group of, I think, 3 islands, but the main one where the most people are living is Madeira itself. And Madeira is the Portuguese word for wood, as the explorers initially only saw the forests of the island. And it's also referred often as the Flower Island due to its unique climate, fostering a rich and diverse array of colorful flowers. And yeah, the climate is throughout the year very mild, mild subtropical climate, and yeah, pleasant temperatures. So it's very comfortable and enjoyable to have holiday there. And yeah, besides hiking, there are many other popular activities like canoeing or sailing around the island, and yeah, lots more. Here we can see Funchal, the capital. Um, it's known for its historic charm, lively markets, cultural events and botanical gardens. And now to our trip that we did in October 2023. We will first see some Funchal photos and yeah, I will announce the next slide with next slide. So I hope that's okay for you if you're yeah looking at a stereos and won't be stressed by my yeah fast switching. So on the next slide we already see a flower from the botanical garden in Funchal. It's called Bird of Paradise flower. It's an exotic plant with large, brightly colored flowers. And yeah, there are so many beautiful flowers in the botanical garden. There's also a tropical garden in Funchal, but yeah, I think unfortunately this is the only stereo I brought you. But on the next slide, you can yeah join me on a walk to the port of Funchal. And as you see, I only do sequential stereos with my smartphone, but yeah, I guess it's not that big problem here. You're passing this nice monument by walking to the port, but before you will see on the next slide a freshly made pineapple drink that I got there. It's yeah, it tasted very good and it has really been made freshly out of this pineapple. So yeah, maybe you can see in the background a bit of the port, but here we are on this next slide. A pirate ship, and yeah, I think it's the only one in the port. It's yeah, very famous, I guess. You can see it everywhere, and you can yeah go on a small pirate ship tour around Funchal with it, and we really did it and saw some whales and dolphins, but unfortunately I couldn't make stereos from them. But here on the next slide you see another one from the sails of the ship. And yeah, I would step further to the next slide where you can see a small path that we sometimes, yeah, uh, went down to a kind of beach. Unfortunately, there are no so many real sand beaches there on Madeira. You can go swimming, of course, but yeah, you won't really miss that because I think Madeira has so much more to give. On the yeah on the path down on the next slide, you see beautiful flowers that are also all over Funchal as well. And on the next slide, there are yeah this is a view to the smaller streets in Old Town near the port. And I think this was the Rua Santa Maria. Some artists live there and they have nice painted doors on the houses. This was an art project in 2010 after a big flood. And nowadays it's a cultural heritage from UNICEF. Um, Another nightly stereo on the next slide is yeah a view from an awesome rooftop bar in Funchal. And you can see in the background one of the hills of the city. And yeah, every night you see those lights. And yeah, this was very beautiful. So we will go on and leave Funchal and have some inland impressions, especially from a small trip to the western and northwestern part of Madeira. First step is a skywalk, or it's made from the skywalk. This picture was made at a Cabo Girau, the world's second highest glass bottom cliff platform. You can go there 10 minutes by car, and when you are there, you are 580 meters above sea level. And it's also called the cap of turning back due to people who have fear with heights. And the next slide shows the next stop of our small trip, the Bay of Camara de Lobos, a small fishers village. And um, I'm not so sure anymore. Maybe someone here knows it better, but I thought the legend says that this was the first place where people arrived on Madeira, but I'm not that sure. But on Camara de Lobos, you will see here on the next slide, there are also some artists. This is a seal on the wall designed with rubbish. And the next slide shows a cliff or the rocks in the ocean. I really liked that view, even though it was a bit foggy that day. And yeah, on our trips through the island, we learned some other traditional specifics, also some specific drinks like the poncha that I showed you on one of my first slides. There's also, you can see it maybe here on this next slide, kind of maybe it gives you a kind of idea of the traditional Madeira wine, because this was a wine tasting place. Yeah, a small bar, but very comfy. And yeah, we were tasting Madeira wine there. It's more like a port wine than red wine, but very good. And on the next slide, you see another stereo from this place. Yeah, as you can imagine, there are all kinds of fish to eat there if you want to, like this one heading uh, from the top. And yeah, then the next slide shows this typical thing that you've got there, the levadas. Levadas are those those water sources that goes through all of the island. You will see some of them later, and I can explain some information about it later. And yeah, this one I found very nice because it passes some residential houses. On the next slide, you see the view of another city. It's called Mexico, and some cacti in front. The next slide shows a traditional house. There are still some on the island, and they are still in very good condition. Some have markets inside. And I guess it's the last one from this inland impressions. This slide shows Photo Moniz, natural pools in, I think, northwest of Madeira. And yeah, again, it's sequential stereo, but I still think it's very nice, and get an idea of this natural pools. The next block of my presentation will be the mountain hike. And yeah, as I mentioned, Madeira is a hiking paradise, providing excellent opportunities for hikers. Yeah, we were hiking the typical trip over the three highest mountains. They're all about 1,800 meters. The Pico do Arreiro is the third highest, then Pico das Torres to the highest Pico Ruivo, 1,862 meters. And here you see the first, the starting point of this hiking. It's an astronomy observatory at the Pico do Arreiro. As I mentioned, it's the third highest mountain. It's 30 minutes by car from Funchal, and this is the mountain with this prominent radar station, most visited because it's easily accessible by car. But unfortunately, we had a very foggy day. You will see it on the later stereos. So let's move on to the next slide. Typical mountain plants. And on the next slide, you will see one moment. Yeah. View of the landscape. And yeah, I'm not a geologist, but I think you can see a bit of the volcanic origin. Madeira is of volcanic origin, and its topography includes steep cliffs, high plateaus, and deep valleys. And yeah, this volcanic stone, it sounds like broken glass when you walk over it, and it's very slippery and dangerous on this mountain hike. But the hike itself, it's not that dangerous anymore, because we had railings everywhere. The next slide shows another beautiful landscape from this hike, despite the fog. And another nice fact about Madeira is that 1/3 of the island is above 1,000 meters. The next slide shows tide paths along the hills, along the islands. But as I mentioned, our path had a railing, so it's not that dangerous as it seems. So this hiking tour that we took, takes between 4 and 6 hours. It's 12 kilometers long. And yeah, it's the most exciting hike on the island. 750 meters downhill, 500 meters uphill. The next slide shows strange tree that you see all over the mountain. And on the next slide, maybe you get a bit of a feeling of this steep stairs up to Pico Ruivo. We already arrived the highest mountain, and that's the toughest part of the route, very steep, just before the end. But it's worth it because if it's not that foggy, you see beautiful landscapes. And if you are on the top, maybe you get an idea on the next slide of it. If you are there and it's not that cloudy, you could see all over the island and also the ocean around it. That's very great. So this is not really the top. This is what you see here is the so-called Stairway to Hell. Uh, yeah, the steepest descent of the entire tour. It's yeah, in the end of it, if you already reach the top and go back downwards, and yeah, now we come to my last block of my presentation. As I mentioned, the so-called Levada hikes. They are all over the island and yeah, in the forests and Levada. These are these watering channels that are nowadays turned to hiking trails. In the 19th century, they were built to provide water all over the island, and I think still it's used for agricultural reasons. And yeah, Madeira is also known for all those water networks. And here you can see one besides the hiking path. But I think this was not the actual tour that I will be showing you. Next slide shows, yeah, a view within the woods where you can walk along the levadas, and the next slide shows some yeah former used building. Gives us a bit of a yeah lost places feeling. Was very nice. Next slide shows a tree. Also along our Nevada hiking. Um, but on the next slide, you will see Nevada again. Also with a little water source that provides the Nevada with water. And on those hikes, you can also see bigger water sources like waterfalls on the slide. Our tour guide told us this is the so-called secret waterfall because you can see it from outside from top of the hill from the parking lot when you're starting to go on this hike. You really see it only within the forest. So on the next slide, another view, distant view before diving back into the forest again. Next slide shows another tree, a typical red tree. I really don't know the name, but yeah, this is this is the nature that you see on yeah in this part of the island. So the next slide shows another interesting tree. And on the next slide, there's Levada Basin, in which water sources can be collected. You also see that this Levada is a bit higher than the footpath. That's also sometimes the case here. And yeah, next slide shows another Levada, but this time is an overgrown variant. And on the next slide, another Levada besides the hiking path. This path, yeah, is a bit wider than most of the paths. Here, actually, 2 or 3 people can walk besides each other. Most parts, it's very, very tight, and sometimes you have to wait at a corner to let another group pass. And the next slide is another water source, small and pretty. I really like this stereo. And I think it's the last one from this block. The next slide shows again view into the distance as we leave the forest again. Go back to uh, the tourist bus. And yeah, that's it. This was the Nevada hiking tour, and completes my presentation of Madeira in 3D. Here's the starting image again. I hope you enjoyed this trip, and as you can imagine, I highly recommend this place as a holiday destination. I don't get money for saying this. And yeah, again, thanks for having me here, and don't hesitate to ask any questions. First, here are my sources that I used in the beginning. And yeah, thank you very much for your attention.